In this video, I'll be sharing a significant decision I've been making regarding my RC collection. It's been more than just a hobby. It's more than been a source of joy. It's been a source of creativity and community for me. However, life is full of seasons, and as much as we'd like to hold on to everything we love, sometimes priorities shift and responsibilities change. In these recent years, I found myself increasingly pulled in different directions with very little time left for RC. This decision has not been easy. Though I'm not completely giving up RC, I've realized that it's time to allow someone else to enjoy these cars as much as I once did. Most of what I have amassed over the last 28 years or so will be put on eBay, so stay tuned if you're into RC, especially if you're a fan of vintage Nitro, stadium trucks and what have you. So this stuff isn't going to be in any particular order, it's just how it comes down out of storage, and these things have been not looked at in a minimum 5 years. Here's a pair of Kyosho Ultima Type R's, STs. This one has, I believe, no body. CVAC exhaust. I believe that's a Kyosho GT15 engine. Looks like I have the optional chassis on here. Been polished in the bottom. Optional bulkhead. Or front chassis if you want to say. Optional aluminum carriers or holders for the suspension arms. This one looks complete. I'm not sure if there's a receiver in there. No battery. This one has an F-150 body. Has not been run very much with this that I can recall. This is I believe an OS15 CV, the Duratrax head. Again, this is there's actually a lot of new parts in here. I don't think it's ever been run since. Optional chassis, front chassis, suspension holders. It's an optional tune pipe. Looks like there may be a receiver in here. Those are aftermarket posts. Yeah. A nice example of one of these Ultimas. And along with these Ultimas, I have lots and lots of parts. I believe I acquired a lot of this in a bulk lot from a hobby shop or another person who raced these. So there's just a lot to work with for these Ultimas. Lots of good stuff. Before going forward, I just want to mention that I have some radio systems, and I don't have a radio system for like one for every car. I would use a radio programmed for say 3 or 4 cars, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle that. And that's it. So next thing is Duratrax Ultima ST. Duratrax Maxima, I mean. Still thinking about the Kyosho. And this is the original radio. There's the antenna. Feels like there's batteries in it. I know it was bad to store batteries in these things for that long. But I think we're still okay. These expire in 27, so. And the body of this one's in good shape. Some aftermarket Pro lines in there. Get this body off. Check out the chassis. pretty clean. Looks like the original engine I have on there. Yeah, it looks factory. Still solid, complete. Doesn't look too bad, guys. It's a nice example for you old school Duratrax folks. And I have a few here and there parts for that Duratrax. Looks like at least I have some kind of parts list. A container of transmitters. Already I'm seeing some problems. Oh boy. Well, we have a Magnum Junior, T2 PCKA. Here we have more or less the Tower Hobbies equivalent. This container smelled really weird when I opened it. There's a newer PHKA. A couple of these don't have antennas. I wonder if I stored the antennas somewhere else. Oh, we got antennas down here. There's a old school 2.4 gigahertz T2PL. Really lightweight when they went to that technology. And this is, I'm not sure what Kyosho I have this for. This might be for the Mad Force. But, oh man, guys, look at this. The heat has destroyed that applique. That sucks. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to, if I'd be able to reheat that and put it under something. That is destroyed. I don't know how I'd repair that. That's really out of shape. Well, c'est la vie. Next we have an HPI Nitro King, which is the fuel version of the Wheelie King. That was a little more successful, I think. The Nitro is a little more uncommon. And I have a Bigfoot body on here. I really like this truck. This is pretty cool. Little 10 scale solid axle. A lot of this stuff I would just buy, build it, make it really nice, and not honestly ever run it. I mean, this body, if I ran it, it was seldom. Like, there's like no scratches. Pretty much a stock, like a factory one that you'd find. But I put this aftermarket pipe on here. I think that's just a little pile of parts. A few things I didn't use. Yeah, the original exhaust is still in there. Some shocks and other things. So I put some aftermarket shocks in here. There is a battery of some sort. I had this running. I just built it. Like I said, built it. Ran it maybe once or twice and was done with it. I know that's some kind of better servo, at least a higher rated one. Have some, I think these are all like, there's some aftermarket stuff going on here, some aluminum that someone made at one point. I doubt these parts are available anymore. I put some aluminum up front here. And I want to say something about that mount for the steering is different. I can't remember exactly how that was changed. Back here too, I have some aluminum. Yeah, it's a cool truck. So here we have a Nitro ST15 Tower Hobbies. And this one is, I've had a couple of these before. This is a really nice example of one. I have aftermarket wheels And tires on that, they look a lot nicer than the factory. Pretty much a factory Tower Hobbies. I mean, that's a plain fun truck. And the same thing, okay? So these were made by a Taiwanese company, I believe, called Xinyi, and they're now defunct. They made just simple, like, kind of loose copies of other RCs. So I think a lot of the front end, for example, in this is from kind of based on the Ultima. They would just kind of copy some designs that already existed. And I found this on eBay at some point, and it's the same basic vehicle. We got some shorter shocks, and it came with different wheels. So these smaller road wheels. So it was some kind of, if you went online and used like the Wayback Machine, which is like an internet archive, you can find that, the old Xinyi website. And I believe this was like either marketed as a Ford Escort or a Celica, some kind of rally car, and they were two-wheel drive, so, or some kind of road car. And that's what, so these original wheels were on it. And there's the original wheels for the ST15. So I thought it was interesting. I just bought it, and I thought I'd do something with it. And so I ended up doing like sort of a scale-looking truck thing. And I have this F100 body, like a 1960, I forget, that Pro9 makes. I thought that would look really cool. I punched the holes for the body so it'll fit on there. That just needs to be finished. It looked pretty cool. And I have a new old stock body for the ST15. Instructions and a few parts here and there. Number to unpack on this one. So this type of car that I have, there's 4 of them. I'm going to show you. There's basically 2 different versions of it. For those who know about these, you know already. This is the Outlaw Rampage, Kyosho Outlaw Rampage Pro, which is the blue version of the chassis. And then there's a later version called the Pro ST, which is the same basic vehicle, but there were a few tweaks to it that basically changed the running gear, I think the transmission, but aesthetically it's the same vehicle. This is a Rampage Pro, so there was a stadium truck version and a buggy version. And this was like back in the early 90s, kind of Kyosho's answer to the like the RC10 GT, the Losi Nitro truck. This was kind of an oddity, this one in particular, because I don't think there was really, at least in the States, there wasn't a two-wheel drive narrow chassis like a buggy class for racing that I know of. So this is kind of like a strange vehicle to be here. You don't see these as often. You see a lot more of the stadium version. But these did exist, and this is a pretty good example of one. Clean chassis, not too beat up. These had shorter arms, and different wheels, of course. And this, I can't remember, I'm not sure if there was a Pro, so there was a Pro version of this, so it was a team, what they call it, the team version, which had bearings and a couple other things, and it didn't include the engine. And then there was a type that I believe included a basic, like a OS, it's been too long, an OSCZ, and this one may have been, if there was a team version of this, it's likely because I'm seeing CV shafts in the back. I'm not sure, but anyway, the reason why I say that is because it has this OSC, it's a CV, no, it's a CZ. Yeah, definitely, I see CZ back there, so that's a CZR, I believe, and it has just a newer recoil starter on it. Newer tank. Some gold shocks in the back. Either Duratrax or Kyosho. More likely Duratrax. And looks like some factory. So maybe this is just a sport version, because this has plastic shocks in the front. And this guy over here, we have the team shocks and a CZ with recoil and a boost bottle, a purple boost bottle. Boost bottle looks very trick. I like that. It looks like we have all the radio here. I probably had this running by the way it looks. Pretty sure the Buggy, I think I used a Robinson Racing. These have a weird pitch. I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's a weird gear pitch that they came from with the factory. I believe that gear on the clutch bell is actually separate, that aluminum. This one, it looks like I used some aftermarket parts to get it running. Because these gears, of course, aren't as easy to find. That belongs to that Buggy. So here's the red version. These are the Pro ST, and like I said, basically the same vehicle. Now, they did change the gear pitch, so it's more conventional, what they use later, like a larger gear pitch. And more or less the transmission from the Sandmaster, which anyone knows about the old Sandmaster series. It wasn't a great transmission, but they did change something to make this one stronger. I can't remember. The gear case is the same, but there's the internals. I forget what it was that made these better. They're not the same exact transmission. It might be the differential, the top gear, something to make them more durable. And this one is basically, this one isn't factory. I think I kind of cobbled this exhaust together. This might have been one I bought in parts and completed it. Like we have I believe this is this is a 12 CV. This is a bump start type engine. We got some very corroded batteries there, so that will need some work. See the corrosion there. It doesn't look like it reached the chassis. This chassis is not in too bad shape. There's some scratches. It's been run. It's been appreciated. That tire's pretty worn. Yep. And then this one. No gas tank. We got a radio. I might have stolen that gas tank for something else. Can't remember. I'm not sure if I ever ran this one. Chassis is a little nicer. It was almost like a purple. Really cool color. But I think they're considered red. Not much different than the other one besides that gas tank. It might have a little bit newer engine with that black 12 CV block. And some nice tires in the back. Yes, sirree. If you haven't noticed a pattern already, I will tell you that I'm a big stadium truck fan. So we have a Nitro Rush. This was basically a new truck when I bought it. It was like a new old stock. So the box is in really nice shape. Some wear just on the corners from the shelf. And pretty much every option you could buy for these trucks. And I never ran it. Every freaking option that I think was available at the time. And that I think is a Delrin gear. I don't remember who makes that. Yeah. And we have a HPI, I guess it was an F250, F350 body. Very nice, very cool body. I've had a few of these on different trucks. Well, there's a decal set. And there's the engine. Everything's still like new and clean on this thing. There's all the papers. Factory body. Still has a clear protective stuff on it. There's the Airtronics included radio, factory radio. There is the decal set, belongs to the original body. That is the wing. Yep. This was kind of an underrated stadium truck. I mean, it's not too bad. There's a lot of, like, I saved all the factory parts. I didn't get rid of anything. Old promotional stuff. I guess there's some masks. Yeah, window masks. There's the exhaust. Proper exhaust manifold. And tuned pipe. Spent the money, never ran it. And here's brand new factory tires, apparently. I put some aftermarket stuff on. Excuse me. Yeah. That'll be a very cool truck when it's finished. I mean, it's basically just, what, put your engine and your exhaust on. And, I mean, I already have servos. We already have servos, yep. It's very strong. It's kind of built like an old Ultima buggy with like the side, it's like kind of like a channel. It's like strong, but it's still relatively light. It's not bad. That thing's pretty cool. Okay, getting into some of the more obscure stuff. This guy is trying to remember now. I believe, yeah, this is a conversion, and I believe it was made by Dudgeon, which later became A-Main Hobbies. I think I'm right on that. Anyway, it's a conversion kit, and it turned. I'm not real strong on the Losi stuff, but it turned something Losi, some kind of Losi stadium truck. I don't know, Junior X. I'm just guessing a JRXT into a Nitro stadium, and it has some. Yeah, that thing says Team Losi on it. It's gonna be hard to see. That slipper clutch setup says Team Losi on it. And I don't think I ever had this running. That says MIP on it. Some MIP steering parts. And yeah, just an interesting, that's a very early 90s looking stadium truck there. Got a Duratrax head on a, is that a 15? No, that's a CZ. OSCZ. Bump start. Old school carbon there. And it has this Dodge body with it. In typical condition. Still in decent shape. Usable. And there's that one. And we have, oops. Yeah. This is a ThunderTiger DT10. So I think these came out in the late 90s. Like an RTR stadium truck. Oh, I forgot to have like a poster size parts diagram. That's pretty cool. So all of that is here. What's this? parts list for the carburetor. I have the instructions for the factory installed high-tech links. Instructions for that. Engine. Doo-doo-doo. Body in typical condition. Looks like the controller. Yeah, that's an old repair. I don't think I did that. That's the way I got it. I think I had a rubber band wrapped around to keep it together. I think that sticker means 2001. Probably does. But the battery cover is here. It's just the nothing for it to latch to because of that broken body. Yep. And I'm not sure if I ever had this running. Trying to fix the antenna tube. Alright. Pretty much how you'd find one of these. This is a weird. This is a very non-conventional setup for a stadium truck. It's kind of cool. Got that rear-facing clutch bell, catching the gear in the center. And you'll see the brake disc is right behind that, just in front of the diff. If it'll focus. It's kind of interesting. This is very clean. I think I did at one point, yeah, remembering now. So I bought this used, pretty much the condition you see it now, but it had a bent chassis plate, so I actually sourced a replacement chassis, I think either from the UK, or I might have found one here, but they're little, they're uncommon. You still see some parts here and there on eBay for them, but I was lucky enough to find that chassis and kind of tore it all down, cleaned it up. Yeah, this is a used chassis, but it's straight. It's correct, because before it was very bowed, so it's in better shape now. And that top plate, I think, is painted. I thought I saw some evidence of it. Someone painted that. That should be just silver. Other than that, yeah, just a good example of a DT10. I'll tell you, it's a surprise around every corner. It's like opening up kind of new stuff again, because when I moved and brought my RC stuff with me, I just used any container I could find, including these toolboxes, whatever I had at my disposal. So I'm wondering, what the heck did I put in, what RC did I put in there? Aha! So, at one point, so I really like, I still really have an appreciation for these Outlaw Rampage Pro cars, these Kyoshos, and I'd say in like the mid-2000s, there were a number of, wow, yeah, I was in the middle of doing something there. There were some firms on eBay, like companies that were, there must have been like mom and pop RC shops just closing left and right because they were liquidating a lot of parts, and I bought a lot of parts for these Outlaw Rampage Pros, thinking I'd have them, like, I don't know, I just hoarded parts, and they were just easy to get, and I was just buying them, and just squirrel them away. So I have a lot of, excuse me, I have a lot of stuff for these trucks. Gears. Shocks. Transmission. Entire engine blocks. Just all kinds of stuff. Lots of new brand new in bag parts. I mean, I basically bought probably enough. There's an NOS chassis. I probably bought enough to build like 2 or 3 more of these things. I'm not sure what I was doing here. It's like that chassis is a little tweaked, but it's not bad. I don't know. I can't remember what the heck I was doing. I got some aluminum, and I guess I was trying to... I don't know. Thought I'd make my own chassis, maybe. All kinds of wheels. Suspension set. Transmission casings. And some of the stuff was never used. They're just out of the bag. Yeah. For some reason, it's like I bought one of these trucks and someone sent me like the cardboard panels. It's like they had the original box, but they cut it up and sent me the panels of the box. I guess I just kept them for like the box art or something. I don't know. So I just think this truck is cool. So I saved all this stuff. Kyosho was just too late to the game. And I mean, this came out in '93, but by then Team Associated and Losi had their stuff going on with the gas 2.0 drives, and had already like established the standard. Kyosho was just different enough that I don't think people really raced them seriously. I mean, it's a well-engineered truck. Don't get me wrong, but it's just obscure. It's just no one really. I guess the support for racing them just wasn't there. So lots and lots of parts for the Outlaw Rampage Pro. I know what's in this box. Whoops. In this very fragile box. And Traxxas stuff. I remember this body, painting it. It's pretty cool what I did there. I like that body. This is my Nitro Sport that no one should ever spend this much money on. Oh man. Look at that receiver cover balloon. Oh, that storage was not nice to these things. Wow, that balloon is just crispy. Huh. Anyway. Yeah. All kinds of stuff on a Nitro Sport that doesn't belong on it. Why would someone bother? I don't know, because they're weird. Aluminum carriers and RPM arms and the better metal aluminum shocks and a 360 header and pipe and some kind of battery holder I devised because I thought it looked cool. Used like Lexan and I think a Robinson Racing clutch bell. I have it geared way up. I'm not sure, but this thing was actually pretty fast. Some kind of apparently a 16. I think that's like a Smart Tech engine. Like they were really cheap on eBay at one point. They might still be on there. I guess a waterproof Traxxas servo. Yeah, this thing is fun. I bash this around quite a bit. Carbon fiber cover for the aluminum portion. I guess the allure of this chassis is you can just toss it around. It doesn't really give a damn because it's half plastic, and it's so easy to fix. And the parts are cheap. This might be one of the few I actually hold on to, just because if I ever want to just want to get out in RC and bomb it around, I don't really have to care about breaking it because I'll just find parts for it. I like this body. I did sort of like a Yeah. My own LED. This actually looks pretty cool when it's lit. It's lit. Lit, dude. Another Traxxas stadium truck, which I am not proud of the body work. Kind of ruined it with the stupid paint. I don't know what I was thinking. Guess I was trying to combine colors and it just didn't work out. This is a Jato. So what I was going for with this Jato was like, I know it's supposed to be a speed run stadium truck, more for like just going fast and straight, but I wanted to make something that was like more dirt track appropriate. So get the hood off of here, show you what I did. I have not run this very much, just like a lot of my stuff. I just kind of built it and gave it a couple spins around the block, and that was it. This was a brand new OS I put on here. It's TG. It is a single. I converted to single speed. I got like a. I don't know. I thought it'd be a good setup to have this tire arrangement, and it handles pretty well the way this is set up, with the low profile thing going on, and the old school 2.2s in the back. Sort of like, I don't know. I guess my reasoning was like, on dirt bikes, you have like, on some of them you have the smaller wheel in the back with the heavier tire, and the front's more of just like a pizza cutter. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, very clean overall. Single speed, the TG engine. What else did I do? RPM arms. And I'm not sure what I have on there for a clutch bell. I think that's an upgrade brake disc. And a 58 spur. I don't know, there's quite a few teeth on that clutch bell, so I still have it geared pretty high, I think. Yep. This would make a fun truck for somebody if they're more dirt track minded, not so much for speed. Quick look at that underside. And toward the end here, I think. Although I have a lot of parts, boxes, and miscellaneous RC items that kind of like this box. Yeah. A lot of this stuff probably will just be thrown away, actually. Unless I can find the thing that they go into and include it with whatever I sell it with. I don't know. Just basically boxes for radios. Some Radio Shack chargers I've accumulated over the years. They just seem to be really common. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing exciting in that box. So no, I would say we're only about halfway through. I cleaned out the top part of the shed where this big stuff, the bigger boxes were, but there's a whole other shelf full of stuff. So no, we're maybe about halfway through. All right. Boxes for kits. Some airbrush stuff. I'll be showing you that. None of these don't actually have kits in them, they're just the boxes. The cars are in different containers. But yeah, I kept original boxes for the most part. If I bought it new or bought it with the box, I kept the box. Oh boy, yeah. Sport 2000 Bowlink, the old school Bowlink pan car is underneath that Mustang Shelby body, and I have this 28 body for it. This old Thunderbird body. And there's a random, don't know who made that, toy grade thing. That does work. It did it one time. And there's my Escort, my very abused, very loved Escort, Tamiya TT01. Body's getting brittle. There's my very first RC I ever had, the actual one. Tyco Turbo Hopper, and I lost the original controller, and I haven't had it running for a long time. The tires have turned into chewing gum, and yeah. Oh man, I ran this thing hard. Really nothing special about this. Still a brush motor, and there's a few upgrades in there, but nothing too wild. I just ran the piss out of this thing. Fun car. I think this is the Mad Force. Yeah. So a lot of times I wouldn't even get the time like to finish my projects. So here we have a 79, kind of like doing an old school Bigfoot thing. That's body was never cut, nothing, never finished, just out of the bag. But I just drilled for the body, for the chassis. So this was a Mad Force, a newer Mad Force. I kind of converted back to the old school hubs. Something else about it though. But this got some pretty good use. These are a handful with the 3-speed. Even though this is a really low-end 21 engine, this Kyosho made one, it still has tons of power and just wheelies all day, and it's hard to keep it under control. It's not a very heavy truck. It's not like a Savage. It's massive, it's big, but it's light. Yeah, I have the old school, instead of the cruiser wheels and tires, I made it so I could use the old school wheels because I like them more. And I printed out a manual some point and some old parts. Yep, I still save all the shafts and the old shocks. I think I put Inferno shocks on it. That might be a new carburetor. So I had trouble with it running. I think the O-rings went bad in the carb and it started to act up. That might have been the old carb and I replaced it with something else. I see the Sandmaster in here. Brand new decal set. Never used it. It smells weird. Man, plastic. The instructions. Got two of them. This is a reproduction. Not quite finished, so it's a brand new body. Don't know why I like these so much. They were very cheaply made, like one of the cheapest Nitros you could buy. And they were kind of fragile. But this one is in good shape. It was supposed to be a beginner, easy to work on frame. And you know, there's not much here. I mean, the clutch does not have a slipper. Just plastic everything. Transmissions were especially weak. This one's not too bad. I ran them both, I think. Probably this one more often. I see like more indications of wear on this one. Like, I think this was the one. Then I think the body that I got with it was in really bad shape, and I actually sprung to get the reproduction. So there's that one. Pretty much all factory, nothing crazy. Let's see what we got with this one. Kind of forgot I had two of them. Wheels and tires from an Outrage, which is the electric version, but that's fine. They took the same wheels and tires. Excuse me. This one's oily. Has some old fuel still left in it. Yeah, this has about the same amount of wear. It's complete. Has radio. Probably wouldn't take much to get going. Does this one have CV shafts? The optionals? It does. Whereas the other one is factory, I believe. Yeah, that one's factory type. So I probably had them both running at one time. Yep. This is a favorite among Kyosho fans. Kind of a classic. Oh man, so no, I'm not going to be cleaning anything up for this video, at least, because I wanted to show everything the way it is. No sugarcoating anything. We got our Outlaw Rampage. And I think that's my Ultima Pro. But I'll show the Rampage first. Just have that kind of along for the ride. But I think the rest of it here. There's a another brand new decal set. And this is a brand new factory body. And I did quite a bit to this chassis. A lot of factory parts. I mean, like I said before, I saved everything, all the original parts. That stuff's for the Ultima Pro. But most of it's up here. This in here is for the Rampage. New spur gear. Fuel tank. There's the antenna. Even saved the header cards. There's a belt. Not sure if Tough Racing still makes an aftermarket belt, but there's one. There's a factory belt. There's a new in package exhaust system for the Rampage chassis. There's a brand new ball diff kit, never used. Some on-road wheels. That was kind of leftovers from a couple of different ones I've had. There's some chassis plates. So I had don't have any more. There was an on-road conversion kit for this, made for this, and It was like it converted this chassis into a pan car, more or less. And I don't have any of that anymore, so but I still have instructions for it for some reason. I didn't include it when I sold that years ago. And I think this slick tire is part of that deal. There's new pinion. Yeah. All the old instructions I kept, all the parts I bought. There's a steel main gear made by Duratrax. Old school correct radio T2PKA. Probably my favorite radio overall. It's such a cool design, chunky, kind of heavy, well made. No BS. So this got some runtime. This original body, I bought this. So you saw earlier in the video, you saw the original box for it. I bought this as an NOS, like an unbuilt kit. And it was, so I got it from Australia, I think. And the US version came with the OS engine, but it seems like the ones outside of the US came with the Kyosho, the old GS11 that they made in-house. So soon after building it with that engine, I had trouble, and it just, I think, to be honest, I think it had something to do with the way the engine was sealed. Something about the gaskets. I had a really hard time keeping it running, so I got a, now I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was an NOS OSCZ years ago to upgrade it, and it has that beautiful Duratrax aftermarket head. Looks really nice. So there's a lot of stuff going on with this chassis, a lot of stuff that I bought, and a lot of it's made by Duratrax. So sway bar kit, the gold shocks, optional fuel cap. It replaces the regular screw-on type and makes it a quick cap. Gold shocks, the tuned pipe kit, the carbon fiber chassis. So I ran this a lot with the aluminum chassis. I pretty much ran this when it was original, and then when I started upgrading it, I left it alone. I didn't run it when it was upgraded. So a lot of this is like brand new. It's almost like a brand new truck again. Receiver and servos are period correct. I mean, that's what belongs on there. This has a slide carburetor made by Duratrax, which actually it runs really well with that, or it did when I installed it a long time ago. And there's something else I thought about this truck. I think that might be it. So, yeah. Really cool truck. Oh, and I think that flywheel, oh yeah, the engine's gotta be freed up. That's gunked up. Like a lot of these engines are gonna have to be like put solvent in and free them up again, because they're gonna have old fuel in them. That is I think that's a lightweight Duratrax flywheel. Yep. My Ultima Pro that I actually got in the later years. Can't remember exactly how, but it's some kind of trade deal, and yeah. So I had this running, and this body is not in great shape. I'm afraid to take it off of here even. Just a second. Alright. These are probably made in aftermarket now, but aluminum washer, a bunch of screws to hold the two halves together, and Got some typical hardware under the hood. Suspension works still pretty well. I want to say that we have two different kind of shocks here. We might have like Duratrax up front and Kyosho out back. They were very similar shocks, but they have some fundamental differences, and some people are really good at spotting that. It has more to do with it. Besides the color, it has more to do with the O-rings and some of the hardware, some subtle differences. Novak 410, if it'll focus. 410. And what we got out back here? A super stock 34 Kyosho motor. The Kyosho motors are just really cool looking. And some sloppy soldering. Dean's connector that I did later. And a newer Kyosho servo I probably had laying around just because I could make it work. And some very dry, but still not dry rotted tires. Wow, those are super hard tires with some wicked tread. Some extra, I showed you before, some extra gears come with this. Those are actually Schumacher tires up front there. No brand name on the back tires. Alright, I'm going to make these a last for today because the sun is getting low. And the light's starting to go away out here. And I got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow, and hopefully I can get back to doing more of this video and get everything else back out. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff. More than I remember bringing, I guess. What the heck? Alright, let's start with this. This is a, I'm trying to remember the name. The name escapes me for now. Oh, I should have wrote it down. This was made, this is obviously a knockoff. It's a really loose copy. So when I knew what this was, I looked it up online. And it's a very loose copy of a Traxxas Nitro Hawk. So it's like kind of the Bizarro World version of that chassis. I don't think it was any kind of conversion. It's its own car. Damn, I can't remember the name of this. I'll have to almost do a reverse image search to see if I can find it that way. But it's got like all the same kind of things going on with like these raised chassis portions for the battery box and like the shoe brake, using the inside clutch, like the reverse clutch, like the Nitro Hawk and the other cars in that series did. So I literally put a Traxxas, an NOS Traxxas engine into this car because it was like basically made for it, which is really interesting. I went to, before we moved, my wife and I went to, just did some driving around up north, as sort of like a, I don't know, just to like go out on the road and just look at stuff, you know. And I stopped by that. I was still in, you know, more, I wasn't like yet into, I was still into like building RC and stuff and like finding parts and whatever. And we got to this middle of just, not middle of nowhere, but you know, no particular place, hobby shop. We would find a place, nice place to settle and just rest and find a room at a hotel and like a bed and breakfast and just relax. And I just start looking up hobby shops in the area and like racetracks and stuff like that and see what, like that kind of stuff we could do. And I found this really cool old school hobby shop and I noticed that they like were advertised Traxxas, and I went in there, and there's all kinds of old school, a lot of old stuff still around. It's like those kind of hobby shops that people like me, guys that are into the old stuff, they just love it. You know, it's a spectacle, you know? And they didn't like expect $1 million for everything. It was very reasonable. It was just there for a long time. So I was like, okay, you got a little Traxxas stuff. Dig around and see if you have one of these engines. And they did. And they were so happy to get rid of it. Because, I mean, let's see, if I had to guess, that was, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And, well, shoot, 20 years ago, the Nitro Hawk was old. So they were probably really happy to get rid of this, and he gave it to me for this engine for a really good price. And it was like one of the pieces I needed left to complete this car, because I didn't have an engine for it. This is such a weird car. I forget the name. It's not Dudgeon. It's not A-Main. I don't think. I'll find out. But if any of you know what it is, you probably recognize it, because it is, even though it's a copy of a Nitro Hawk, it does have its own look. I think, for some reason, I want to say there were other versions of this chassis. Like, they made this in other colors. Never ran this, of course. I might have fired it up one time and like to see if the running gear worked, but I never actually drove it around. Even though I have radio in it. The shocks were probably missing, because those look like shocks I might have ordered on eBay for like something else. Like a lot of those, like the Chinese knockoff stuff. I just needed some shocks. I think I did some like relative measuring, and it's like, okay, these will probably work. And they're fine. Stance isn't too bad. It's respectable. Okay. And what do we have? This is actually, I don't remember. I think 4510. I think that looks like the old, yeah, that's the old Nitro Sport body, I'm pretty sure. Kind of sure. I intended, I guess, to go in this truck. And I have, what else here? This is a cool body. This is a recent buy. I was gonna either do that or this. This is the F-150 like retro body for the RC10, I believe. Quick, get that out of the way. And there's another Traxxas. People are having fun with guns out there. A bunch of random stuff for this Traxxas. So this, I feel like I didn't really do this right. This is, I don't know if they make it anymore. What is the name of this company? Anita's gonna give me a clue. There's a company, I know they're still around, because this again was a later thing I did. They made an aftermarket, like a reproduction of the TRX3 and the TCP Traxxas Buggy. Fiberglass plate. And my plan, I don't know, for some reason I thought that it was relatively the same as the SRT. I thought, okay, well, and they advertise like that. They say use our chassis and make a reproduction, like a modern TCP or SRT with our chassis. Well, I guess, you know, what I did is I bought a Rustler, and you just use the Rustler parts. They change it a little bit so that it uses a more modern, all the modern hardware, modern arms, bulkhead, you know, towers, stuff like that. Easily sourced parts. Okay, cool. But then I have it all together. I'm like, well, this isn't this is kind of silly, because yeah, we got a stadium truck, but I believe I had a TCP way back, like a long time ago, which was just the TRX3 buggy, racing buggy, which was semi-successful in the racing world. It was a good kit. I eventually sold it, very well used, and never realized the SRT, which a lot of people love, the Traxxas fans, that was a good kit too. But I didn't realize that the chassis lengths were really that different. So I have a very square, short wheelbase stadium truck here, which is okay, but this might be a project, one of the few projects I keep and just like make it correct, like buy a Bandit, you know, so I have shorter arms and make a correct TC, like a modern TRX3 TCP thing, like the way it's supposed to, and probably just put all these parts back onto, because I still have in the shed, I believe, I still have the remnants of the I keep saying that, the Rustler that these parts came off of, and just build a Rustler, and I don't know what to do with it. I'll have 2 cars, and then I'll probably sell the one, and then just keep the buggy. So that long story explains this thing. Alright, a couple days later. We got another container of transmitters. T2PB. Looks like we have the battery holder. Nickel cadmiums. I remember using this. It did work. Looks like we have a broken cover, but it is there. This one has a good cover and a battery holder. There's a Tower Hobbies. And we have a battery cover. No holder. This is for a Tamiya knockoff Haiboxing. I'll be bringing that out later. That's the transmitter for that. I think that works. Nothing wrong with that. And, something very cheap. I'm not sure what this is for. That might actually be, because I think at one point I had 2 of them, because I was like kind of making a Tamiya custom monster truck build thing, and somehow I end up with 2 of these from those Tamiya knockoffs. Here's kind of what I was talking about. This thing started out as a, like I said, that Haiboxing knockoff. And it's, at one time they were making like entry-level cheap monster trucks out of the TL01B chassis platform. So I took this and made a Baja Champ out of it. Got a factory body and the decals. And it was a fun buggy. I took this on a trip to Jersey Shore when I lived up north. Pretty much still the way I had it. Looks like it's all there. Yep. Not sure what speed control's in there. Nothing too crazy, but it was definitely enough to move this thing pretty darn fast for an old Tamiya. And okay, we're getting into some miscellaneous stuff. So this is like hardware. It looks like this is Traxxas stuff. I'm seeing some Traxxas parts in here. Yep. Oh wow, some of these things I already forgot I had. So we have like this. Like I said, this is all Traxxas. I want to say, I gotta do my homework again. I'm not sure FP's. I'm not sure what that is anymore. It was on something I bought. What else? there's the box when I bought that Duratrax 15 engine. A lot of this I think is from the Nitro Sport. Yep. What's this thingy? Aha. This is like a stash of just engine parts. A lot of it is OS. We got a couple good starters. There's something for a force engine, some drive washers, one-way bearings, shims. I have some new piston and sleeves, but I'm not sure what that one's for. I want to say that's for an OS 12 CV. And this is for the old HPI 12E, which I think might be the same as the Kyosho 12. Under here is probably, yep, more engine stuff, a whole bunch of OS carburetors and back plates, miscellaneous parts. This is Kyosho Superten FW04. So it was the big Superten before they went to the smaller platform. And on it is a reproduction RS200 body that belongs on the, it was an older Kyosho car, the RS200 rally car. And the wheelbase is close. I had to cut it. I had to hack the wheelbase a little bit to make it work with this because it's not quite the same wheelbase. But it was very close in every other way. Have it painted white. I kind of wanted to do the blue stripes thing, like from the 86-ish rally car. But it's just really cool the way it is right now. Take the hood off of this one. This is a neat car. Superten, this particular platform, I think Tamiya and Kyosho and maybe a couple other manufacturers made. Maybe that might have been just those two that made these bigger cars. They weren't quite a 1/8, but they were bigger than 1/10. Everything was made better. It's an absolutely beautiful platform. Really nice to look at just the chassis. And they made these cars. They made a lot of different. They made 4-stroke options, 2-speed, 3-speed, all kinds of different carbon fiber stuff. This was a platform that was heavily supported by aftermarket back in the day, and the parts are getting like. We won't even talk about it. They're just a rarity, and they really bring a lot of money. But this Superten is pretty ordinary. I don't have anything too crazy going on. I bought this as mostly a factory car. I can't remember now what the engine situation was like, but I got a brand new OS CVR, an 18, and this thing, it definitely moves this thing along no problem. It's had some use. I did get it used, and it kind of like looks the way I got it. I didn't like bash it too hard. It does have a newer gas tank on it. I forget exactly what model. I think it's the DRX. Yeah. I think these are aftermarket aluminum shocks. This is kind of a base model. They made these in an RTR form that came with a 15 engine. I think that's what originally had on it. And I have all the parts that I replaced, all the original parts, and some extra stuff. Original box for the new engine. I think I just like broke in the engine and maybe ran it literally 2 or 3 times after that. Suspension arms. There's the, I guess the original air cleaner set, the one that came with the engine. These are the factory wheels and tires. So what I did is I put, I'm not remembering now. So these are the original wheels and tires. And these Supertens use a slightly narrower wheel in the front. But I think I might have gotten a different wheel set. That's what it looks like I did. I got a different wheel set, painted it silver, and these are HPI, no, these are Proline, are they Road Hogs? Road Rages. So kind of like, I was going for sort of a, kind of a gravel, mostly asphalt, like a rally car thing, to get rid of these slicks, but these are the original wheels and tires. I have two HPI cars here. This is a I remember Bullet ST Nitro with aftermarket wheels and tires, and the body is the Proline Ford Courier. I thought it turned out pretty nice. Wheelbase isn't quite there, but it was worth this is a longer chassis than what's normally on these. So a common upgrade back when these were new was you got the chassis for a WR8, the rally car, and you got the extended rear drive shaft, and it makes this truck much nicer to drive with the longer wheelbase. It gets it a little closer to being like driving a 1/8 buggy without the extra weight. These are built pretty solid. Take this hood off. I don't think I did anything too crazy under the hood with the other stuff. This stuff is so dusty, but I'm showing you this stuff the way it is because I don't believe in kind of sugarcoating any of this stuff. So the body is in good shape, no cracks. The paint is pretty decent, held up well. There's a little bit of whatever you want to call that there. A little bit of wear, I guess. It does have a digital Futaba servo, and I know that's a higher torque Futaba servo, a little bit better. And what else we got here? Factory engine, doesn't need any more than that. Factory exhaust, all the other bits. Not too much to write home about. Plastic shocks. When I was driving this, it was good. Like, this setup was just awesome. A lot of fun. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's a little heavy. I mean, it is a truck. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got some better hardware on it. We have transmitters. Just one transmitter. There's the electric start. The Rota start, I think it might have been called. I don't think I have it set up for that. Can't remember. I don't think I used that. Not sure now. Let me look. No. There's the original plate. I think I have that transmitter set up, this HPI set up for both the cars. Engine manual and the owner's manual of the car. And the other HPI is kind of a lesser known model of this same platform. It is the Lightning 10 scale buggy version. And this bad boy is pretty much factory. I don't know. I bought it and I like this platform. I thought, why not a Buggy also? But I don't think I ever ran it. And this had moderate use by the previous owner. It's not awful. Just has plenty of indications of wear. That chassis, someone like took some kind of buffer to it, made it look, try to take the scratches out of it. It doesn't look too bad, but you can tell there were deep scratches and they worked them out. And it looks, I don't think it got tweaked. It wasn't wrecked. It was just well loved. Trying to get this body off of here. And that is pretty typical, the way that looks. Still intact. Not much to say. I mean, we got, I guess, a shorter wheelbase version of the other car with shorter arms, different wheels and tires. You know, just what you expect to find. Wing is still good. PVC or nylon wing, whatever plastic it's made out of. Let me see, this engine, ooh, that's very sticky, and it's pulling over, and it makes compression. I don't think I've ever had this running. If I did, I can't remember, but it's been too long. Like, I mean, I packed it away a while ago, but it was even a long time before that I had it running, if I did. I am seeing some flip over evidence. So we got a smashed fin on top. If one wanted to save that, they could just, if they wanted to, they can cut that top fin off. I think it would look just fine. Just grind it down. The rest of them look okay. The air cleaner is very gummy. I don't know when exactly these came out. I think they came up before the Bullet. But yeah, like I said, I didn't really do anything with this. I'm not even sure. Let's see if there's a receiver in it. I do have a receiver in there. And those are batteries I used. Interesting. Yeah, I might have had this running if I bothered to do that. Have some electronics in there. Okay, box, we have stuff for these. This is actually the roto. This is the starter thing. The backplate and assembly to, if you wanted to use the electric starter, it's here. And I thought I saw, there it is. Heck, I even have the drive for it. So I guess you can just get a battery and make this thing work. Yeah. I don't think I ever tried to use it. I didn't care for this type of thing. I just got a regular pull starter for it. Why? What is this? Now I'm wondering what I did here. I'm not sure what, it has a slipper clutch in it. I'm not sure. I switched something out. I don't know. Fuel tank. And I believe shortly after buying it, I didn't care for the compression. I had some issues, so I got a new piston cylinder. This is the old one. Like I said, I save everything. Even sometimes when it's not necessary. The flywheel in there. Yep. Yeah, I'm seeing a metal gear in this center diff. So I'm guessing I'm guessing that's a center diff from the WR8, and this is the factory bullet gear, which just is a slipper clutch. I guess that makes more sense. Whew, another toxic cloud of plastic when I open that that container. My Inferno. My Inferno. Oh, it's a heavy car. MP6. I believe it's an MP6 Sports. I put this 21 on here, this OS. I believe it's an RG. If I can get this body off of here. It's been driven a bit. Body has some wear in the edges. Really enjoyed this buggy. Didn't race it. It's too old to race. I mean, this thing came out in, what, 99, 2000? And when I did any racing, well, when I did racing, actually it was around that time. I wasn't in 8 skill. I got this one later. So that is a 21 RG with a pull start. Just about every engine I have stored. It's unfortunately going to be, it's going to have old, it's just going to be stuck with old oil. They're all going to have to be unseized. And there is a Kyosho optional tuned pipe and header. Header's probably an OS header. I was kind of going for, so these are, I think these are MP9 wheels, and I was kind of going for sort of a retro kind of Burns look to it. The Burns wheels are round holes, but this has like a slotted pattern and then kind of like a chunkier tire. It was a very capable buggy. I mean, it got through a lot of stuff. It's fast, and you know that this engine is not like a fire breather, but it is still, it's not a slouch. I don't think I did anything too wild to this thing. I put the engine on. I put these servos on. These are kind of better servos. They're more standard for 8 scale. 9303. I think they're both. Oh, that's a 9302 on there. And this is a Magnum FM. It's a cool radio. I think it's from around the same time. I like the push button. It's very straightforward. Very reliable. It does use more power, especially to today's standards. And all kinds of parts. And the manual. It actually doesn't specify. I guess if it were the International, it would say it. This is just the MP6. But the Sports, I don't know if I have the original engine, or if it even came on it. I might have bought it. I think I bought this the way. I'm not sure. I might have bought it without an engine. Those are newer shocks. They're Kyosho shocks, but they're from something newer, because these are the originals. They're supposed to be blue shocks. But I think they weren't complete. There's some reason why I didn't bother fixing them. I got later shocks. These are the side guards that belong on it. Didn't really care for them, because a lot of stuff, like gravel and things, would just stick in and pile up on them. kinds of hardware. So I think we're into the 4th evening of doing this inventory. Something like that. So we're starting to get into some parts boxes. And this is all the stuff left over from that Tamiya knockoff build. So a lot of brand new stuff still in the trees here. The factory parts. There's the tires, not used a whole heck of a lot. They're still in good shape. Original wheels. Box for the castle. Sidewinder, ESC and motor. Ball bearings. The brush motor. 2 brush motors, somehow. I think I actually have 2 of these knockoff cars. And gear set, another castle motor. Speaking, or receiver, body posts, and more miscellaneous parts. A whole bunch of boxes. I think that's all this is. Probably the 12 CD that went into one of the Rampage Pros. A CZR. I think these are all just boxes. Like I said, nothing in them. 12 CV. Another 12 CV. I mainly keep these Futaba boxes because they're just like, they're kind of handy to put little stuff in, little parts and what have you. It's for another 12 CZ. Okay, so this is something really unusual, and I can't find really anything about it online. So it's an alternator for your RC powered vehicle, Nitro powered vehicle. A bracket. Wow, I wonder if that's still good. The rubber band looks like it's not great. That's the actual belt, and then you have a motor, and this packaging's not doing well. And there's the battery, which is probably no good anymore. This is, if I had to guess, probably between 35 and 40, 30 and 35 years I'd put this age, as the age of this thing. Interesting. Lucas and Aldrich International from San Diego, California. I think I might have opened up, I opened this up and read the instructions just to see what it entails, and it's like, you gotta get a little creative with how you put the pulley on. I can't remember if there's any actual parts that help you put the pulley. I guess there has to be something, because that pulley is really open in the middle. And then you put the bracket on, and I guess, I don't know if that's a fixed length belt, like as far as, I guess it depends on what engine you're putting it on, right? So you might have to change the length of that belt. I think what they tell you to do is cut it and then remelt it back together. A long cherished dream of model fans is now realized. Ultra Mini is a major dynamo system can be installed in any engine model. So they think it not only, well, it's got to be a DC motor, so I guess it just, I don't know if there's a regulator in there, I can't remember. couple of, that's like an old Sanwa connector. Pretty cool. Here's from that Tamiya knockoff TLO1B. This body is kind of rough. Got some cracks in it. That doesn't really belong to it. Here's the instructions. That it's like a newspaper. Not great. And this, I basically just consider this a parts thing. This is, I mean, it worked. But I might have stolen a couple small parts off of it to make the other one work. Like this steering is not hooked up. But it has a servo. It has a brush speed control, which I think is still good. I replaced that a while ago. Like not long after I had this. Yeah, this is just a parts vehicle. We didn't really run it. It was just like, in case anything broke, take it off of here. Has good tire, or has good wheels. You could put the tires in this. You could probably, with the rest of those parts in the other box, you can just complete this. Wouldn't be a big deal. This is another FW04 Kyosho. Wow, I'm not remembering much about this. I barely remember even having it. Well, there's no shocks. Well, there's shocks in the back. This looks like a, yeah, this is like a pre-built or an RTR model. Yeah, in fact, there's a manual. I do not have a McLaren body, sorry. The engine is pretty stuck. I don't remember running this. I really don't. Huh. But get that engine unstuck. And I think this would be a runner. Use the parts from the my spare parts from the other one and kind of slap this back together. I mean, it looks like it's all here. You just, there's no body mounts and no shocks. That's pretty much your shopping list. You see both servos. Nothing else has really been done to it. Has some good use. That plate looks relatively straight. Yeah, mainly just a factory AFW04. What's this? Just all my extra decals. Just leftovers from all different things. And these are just probably going to be, they're just going to be parts. Miscellaneous, like they don't really belong to anything in particular. Yeah. Just whatever would go missing, I go to one of these boxes and try to replace it. So we got a bunch of air cleaners in this box. Kinds of rubber elbows, adapters. More of that stuff. A few new things in here. There's a side tune pipe for like a 1215 engine, for like a stadium truck, touring car. There is a, I think it's a T-Max 360 header. think some of these parts are just kind of, I don't know, they might have been for something else, I just made them work. There's a T-Bone Racing bumper for, I'm not sure. Some body mounts, yeah, body mounts, engine mounts. And at one time when I was really into, like, I had a lot more Kyoshos at one time, and so many of them used these, like, aluminum blocks. And a lot of cars use these aluminum blocks for the, to mount the, on a 10th scale of the engine. So I found a, I don't know, I guess someone on eBay that had, like, Chinese parts that made knockoffs, and these work fine. When the Kyosho ones were hard to find, or they went discontinued, I just bought these Chinese knockoffs. They work fine. I think I made this skid plate. I don't know what it was on. A bunch of clutch shoes, aluminum clutch shoes. They work fine on HPIs, Kyoshos, what have you. Some useful stuff. These are all like tools, little tools. Hex wrenches, wheel wrenches, tie rod adjuster wrenches. So in here we have some, mostly, it looks like pretty much all OS blocks. And cylinder heads. That Duratrax head's in really good shape. I'm guessing that's for a 12 CV. That's nice. That came on something, I don't know what exactly. I remember I just had, I don't know, I had plans, different plans for something, and that Duratrax head was too nice to run, or I took it off and used whatever the engine came with. Looks like the only engine that has a rotating assembly in it is this black 12 CV. Don't know if it's good or not. It's a short shaft. I feel like somewhere I have... Oh, I already showed that. It was I think a red box, and it has all the crankshafts and some pistons and con rods. Last but not least is the Slayer. And I'll have to reconfirm this, but I think it is the original type, because it has the I think it's a little bit shorter, the natural colored aluminum chassis, not the blue one. And on it I have a Bronco body that I think was meant to fit the Slash, and it works really well on this wheelbase. I think it would not work quite as well if I had the newer Slayer. The confusing thing to me, I don't quite understand, is they called this a Slayer Pro, right? This model 5908, but I know for a fact the later truck had the blue longer chassis. Because they didn't sell this body to fit the Slayer. I really like this truck. Never really got to run it a whole lot. I like this nifty Proline threaded body cap thing. Keep it on instead of pins. I So a lot of things I actually did to make this Slayer the way I want it. So we have Bronco body, and I installed this OS 18, the T-Max engine. I kind of like that it accepts the Traxxas Easy Start. I can't remember everything I did, but I know I bought a lot of parts. I bought this thing used, and it wasn't in too bad shape, but there was, I don't know, I'm trying to see here what I have in the old parts. So there's some, just trying to get a clue of what I did here. So I did like tie rod ends, these rubber boots, maybe the CV shafts. I did a bunch of stuff in the corners. I did this exhaust thing, so it would trying to keep the exhaust away from the body, so that when I finally do paint that body, if I would ever get around to it, I can keep fuel away from it. Got this crazy connector thing going down as like a tailpipe out the back. Other than the engine, effectively, I don't think there's anything like performance-wise, like anything radical, like gears or brakes. Servos are probably factory as well. I don't think I got any servos for this. There's a 2055 there. Got a 2070 there. This is a chunky, solid truck. I'd really like to, maybe I'll get this running again before I make a decision. Because the few times I did run it, it was kind of fun. Just didn't get a whole lot of time. This is like something I acquired in the later years. This is just like a another parts thing, stuff that doesn't go to anything in particular. Got some 2.2 step pins. A couple of Road Rage, actually a full set of Road Rage. Those are in good shape too. Here we have some of those HPI, like they made them in different colors. This is a gold rim set. I think, it looks like it's made for 5x11 bearings. That might be for the front of Traxxas. And then we have some with a 12mm hex. So I would say that's probably meant for a Traxxas vehicle. Kind of a random 240 size motor. A wheel and tire, a single, nope, yeah, single rear and a single front wheel and tire for a Rampage, the old Rampage Buggy. I think this is a single wheel for an FW03. An S3003 knockoff servo. These are aluminum wheels, 2.2s with 12mm hex, with a fair amount of offset. It looks like they're identical, the whole set. Maybe, I think it probably fit a lot of different things. Be good for a 4-wheel drive 10 scale. And they're, I think they're made by IMEX, I want to say. I don't have the cards to them though, so I can't confirm it. I'm sure, There's enough examples of IMEX parts online. You could probably find those. But they're really, I never use them. They're nice quality. And this is a stash of parts that do belong to the Sandmasters. Just like a lot of hardware, like extra parts to keep them going. Some suspension parts, kind of like odds and ends. Got mosquitoes eating me out here. Gearbox. There's a slipper clutch setup for the monster truck version of the Sandmaster, which is called the Nitro Tracker, not to be confused with the new Nitro Tracker, which is a totally different vehicle. There's a good spur gear. Some yellow sport shocks. And spacers. And there's some new parts here for Sandmaster. Bulkhead, some kind of plate, the gear set, that coveted gear set that's like, it's got that, I think the top gear that always would strip out real easy. Brake lever, hexes, suspension holder. I think are there two gear sets in here? Two gear sets, two SM28s. Nice to have. Suspension parts, an extra fuel tank, battery box, the engine plate, which was like one of the few metal parts on the chassis. Mounts. You could just about build another Sandmaster if you had just the chassis. It's a good amount of parts. Alright, so that's it for the cars. We've reached the end for the cars. Now I'm just going to show what's left to show you, which is the bodies. So I have 3 bodies for your Outlaw Rampage Pro, Pro ST, or even the Duratrax Maximum that use the same body. These 2 are factories, never used. This is made by a company that I don't know if they even exist anymore. This is an old body. This is probably like at least 30 years old. And I don't know if this company became something else. Here's the address for it. Orlando, Florida. And it's kind of a crappy reproduction of these bodies. The detail's not quite as good, but it's still a nice body to have for if you're restoring one of those trucks. Here is a... I haven't looked them up lately. They were around for a while. I want to say they might have been acquired by someone else. But this is a Dom's original body called a Starfighter. It's a Ford Aerostar monster truck body. I guess if you wanted to, I mean, it has smaller wheel wells. You can make a road car out of it, put on a pan car or a touring car. But it's meant to fit 10th scale monster trucks. At one time, I don't remember what the monster truck was called, but I have seen when I used to go to this I used to go to Maple Grove Raceway when I lived in PA. One time I remember as a kid going there, and at one of the events they had a monster truck show, and there was a Aerostar monster truck. It was pretty awesome. Again, I don't remember the name of it. But that was kind of my idea. I thought that was so unusual. Pretty cool. And then we have this. I got this probably in a lot of parts that I bought on eBay or something. And it is a big, I think, I'm pretty sure I put this on like my Inferno just to see the size comparison. I think it's like just a truck body that's meant to be put on an 8-scale buggy, kind of just to put put a truck body on instead of just to make it a little bit different. It's been drilled for a bunch of different things. I don't know what it was on before. In fact, I think I just bought a bunch of bodies and that came with it. So it wasn't like actually to any car I bought. So I couldn't tell you what it's drilled for, but it's still in half decent shape. It could be used yet. Seems pretty durable. And that is it, folks. So there's the inventory of all the RC stuff. So I don't know what I plan to keep yet. I don't know what I'm going to sell, but I do know I'm going to get like at least 90% of this stuff sold. It's got to go. So yeah, thanks for watching.